we're underway. Who do we have on the phone?
You got Carrie Peterson.
Hi, Carrie. Anyone else?
Hi, Carlos.
Hello. Very good. And who do we have here?
Wanda Mangle-Cook.
Chris Shipper.
Carlos Hawley.
Hannah James.
And Amy Orrin.
Very good. So, all we need to get going is for someone to move to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Very good.
And I'll second it.
Wonderful. We're moving right along. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. That brings us to the minutes for the May 16th meeting. And I need a motion to approve those minutes or changes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Is there a second?
I can second.
Wonderful. Any discussions? Any changes? Any? No? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Now we are here for public comment, and I see we have public. So,
Okay. Hello, everyone. You have probably seen me up here before. My name is Whitney Oxendahl, and I am a former library board member here. But then I have tiny kids, so I am no longer. But I like to come and give public comment every once in a while. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is after the session, it was kind of a wild session for libraries. There is a resource for you. It is called 701 Library Advocacy. And it is, if you go to the Facebook page, again, that's 701 Library Advocacy. It is not me doing it, but it is people who care about libraries are tracking when there are attempts to ban books in libraries across the state. There was just an attempt to ban 2 books in the Minot Public Library that was not successful. And so they kind of just report out about what's happening in libraries across the state. And you can sign up for their newsletter. The link to their site is on there. So number one, I wanted to point out that resource for you guys so you could find out what's happening. And the second thing is, I know this is Carlos, your last meeting, and there's going to be, an opening on the board, and I think 2 other people had their terms ending, but maybe you're renewing it. I have seen West Fargo Public Library put out a press release about openings on their board before. The city of Fargo doesn't do that, and that is something that you guys could request because it's really hard to find out when there are openings on boards and commissions. I got on the board because my neighbor was the chair of the board, and so that's how I knew. But if you're not connected to the library board, it's very difficult to know. So that is something you could talk to the city about and say, hey, can you put out a release about openings on the board so that people that are not connected to the board currently could know about it and get on and, have diversity of voices and so on. I think that's it. My last thing I like to do is always thank you guys for your service and coming here and volunteering to be on the board. You guys are not paid, and so thank you for coming and to hear about the library and for caring. So thank you guys so much, and have a wonderful day.
thank you.
Thanks, Whitney.
Anyone else? No? Very good. That brings us to staff report. Megan, you have the floor.
Hello, you have my report in your packet, and we have a lot of things going on right now. That summer reading program is officially underway. So there are more details on our website at all times. I will just give you some highlights. For kids, we have a former circus ringmaster coming later this month. She'll be doing a program both at the main library downtown and also at the Carlson location, sharing her various adventures with stories and songs and activities. We are also partnering with the MSUM Planetarium to host a show starring some of the Sesame Street characters and about how we're all together under the same sky. That one does have registration, since seats at the planetarium fill up fairly quickly. Our teen volunteering group started this past month, and we have started getting kids coming back multiple times. So that is great. We're hopeful that this could lead to some teen-led programs or suggestions for future events. We are also hosting an escape room for teens with Five Nights at Freddy's theme later this month. That was a popular horror video game that has been turned into a book series. That will then be a movie later this month, so it is popular with the kids. Hopefully we can get some people to come. Last month was the first meeting of our community game night that's focused for adults, and it meets at the Northport Library. They had a great turnout, and that will be happening again July 3rd. This is, you can bring board games. We will have some board games there and just get together and play. They are also having a social morning focused on jigsaw puzzles this next month. This month, we had a puzzle making competition that had more than 50 people come, which is neat. This is not necessarily a competition, but just to get together with other puzzle enthusiasts and do puzzles together and have coffee and maybe swap some. I also wanted to mention one volunteer opportunity coming up next week. River Keepers will be at the main library next Tuesday evening doing a program about their mission and everything that they do, and then they'll be taking a field trip down to the river to do a hands-on service project, and that is for all ages. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Any questions for Megan? Apparently, you've covered everything. Thank you. That brings us to the director's report. Is our director here?
Oh, goodness, yes. Per your packet, you have it there. The big thing, looking at the main shade replacement project, we received 2 proposals for that. One was one price and one was a much lower price, which leads to questions as to understanding scope of project. So there's a lot of additional questions to kind of sort that out, and still sorting that out. Hopefully we'll have a proposal to go to the city finance. I need that put together and submitted for city finance by Thursday noon. So I'm hoping the conversations will go on and we'll have a proposal. So it's a lot of back and forth. It's a little more complicated project, given that it's a reno of shades and not a new build. And so you really get into how, the old shades were attached one way, and will they be able to do the same thing with the new ones and this kind of thing of blocking and safety, and gravity doesn't do anything bad to them, because we've had situations where shades have fallen off, which is never good. So more to come on that. So that's kind of the big stuff going on there, unless anyone else has questions per the rest of my report.
Anybody? No? Very well. Let's go on to new business. We have 2 items.
The first one, pretty straightforward. We just updated the meeting room application form to just add a line at the top saying type/nature of event, because it's always good to have some kind of inkling as to what's going on, so we don't have any policy issues that we run into in regards to that. So that's the only change that we're offering up for board action in terms of the meeting room application form.
Very good. Any questions for Tim on that item? It's a rather minor change, I think. Well, shall we vote? And we have a motion to approve as amended, the application as amended.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Very good. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Wonderful. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. And those opposed, nay? Okay, we can hear you on the phone if you want to vote. Never mind, the ayes have it. That brings us to the social media policy for staff.
Yes, this is a rather significant update, kind of trying to keep in line with everything that's going on in social media and just kind of tighten up the language. This is primarily for staff, and this is aligned with other city policy, the city's electronic communication policy, as noted under section 2. And again, you know, in terms of social media, a lot of staff use social media as part of their job in terms of getting the word out with all the stuff that we're doing and keeping us relevant and current per social media. So this is a rather important policy for staff. You can see it's rather significant update. It's a long time coming. It's one that kind of unfortunately slipped through the cracks for a while, but updated as you see it though.
Very good. Any questions for Tim?
So this is basically just like emphasizing while you're at work and using
Sure.
work equipment,
Right.
but then just the one that if you're gonna post any like actual opinions,
That's, yeah,
that
that's,
they have to put like my opinions or my own about
Right.
something concerning maybe the library itself. Okay.
Tim, I noticed you said primarily for staff. Is anyone else affected by this?
no, this one's for staff. I mean, we
Staff,
have a
okay.
computer use policy that kind of covers that universe of public use of public computers. This is social media and staff.
Very good. Anyone else? This looked ambitious, actually, the changes you made in this, so congratulate you. If
And
there's
that
no-
would have been Melissa Duncan, our community engagement outreach person for PR that kind of redid it. She's the primary person that works on social media for us, because I said, I looked at this and I said, Melissa, this looks really old. This is almost like 10 years ago. I think we need a fresh set of eyes on it, so.
Yeah, well, thank her for me. So what we need is a motion to accept this document as amended.
I will make the motion to accept.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Wonderful. Is there any more discussion? Yeah, hearing none. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That brings us to statistical reports, May usage.
Yes, per your packet, you can see continuing the trend of significant and healthy increases over 22, which we're happy about. Programming attendance really healthy. You see that there. Volunteer hours, I think we've been short some volunteers. I think that's impacted that to a certain degree. Other than that, certainly internet's up, electronic activity. You can see this right around the line just up, but year-to-date up 11%. Kind of programming and attendance kind of, and then obviously circulation follows with a continued increase over 2022. Year-to-date, we're just up a little over 11% over 2022, which represents increase of 40,800 more items circulated, so we're excited about that. See that starting to come back to pre-COVID numbers, so we're excited.
Wonderful. Financials?
Yes, looking at the donation summary, that $120 of unrestricted donations, this was for the staff. The Department of Justice used the downtown main community room, and Ben Deuber and Cindy here in the crowd assisted them, and they were so happy with the service, they gave $120 to the library, so thanks to folks helping out. The next, in terms of the restricted donations, you have $100. The $1,013 is represented by $100 from the Women's Club, a $12.92 Benevity gift, which is basically a wage donation. And that the balance, which is like around $900, is from the Lindbergh Memorials that we've been receiving. On the expenditure side, thank you to the Friends. That $10 is for Crafternoons, you can see that there, and the $789 expended, that's, again, thank you, Friends, for the summer reading program books for the summer reading program. So that's what we see in terms of donation summary, in terms of revenue and expenditures.
Wait, I have a really quick question on donations,
Sure.
right? Can you remind us what restricted and
Sure.
unrestricted donations are?
Unrestricted says here's $500. You spend it however you want it. Restricted is here, I'm giving you $500 to buy books for children.
Okay, so they say specifically.
Correct.
What to use it for. Cool, okay.
And we have a whole donation policy that kind of gets into the nitty-gritties of that if need be. In terms of operating, just kind of an aside, receive, I don't know if you've been seeing in the press, obviously the city's had kind of a revenue concern for several reasons. Don't need to go into that. Certainly, will impact us in terms of our operating to a certain degree. In terms of the 2024 budget asks, I've seen the initial kind of feedback from them. I don't anticipate those two positions being funded. Some of the monies that certainly in terms of for materials and additions for marketing and program stuff, that's not going to be supported either. Pretty basic stuff. To be expected based on everything that's going on. So obviously, in terms of current operating budget, we're doing fine. You can see that there. Obviously, we're going to continue to watch and, obviously they've looked at saying, okay, if you've had X amount of positions that you've had turnover, and we always have a level of turnover in terms of entry-level positions, library associate ones, pages, and we've had a little bit of turnover. So they've kind of did some math and said, well, okay, this would be extra and we were going to need that. So to the tune of 130,000. So that's not terrible, but the idea that it's shaving that off in June, I mean, we got another 6 months to go, and obviously we'll keep eyeing things. So it's tight all over. I just want to let you guys know that. We're not looking at it a lot for 2024, but yeah, it was only a matter of time given everything that they're talking about. So if anybody has any questions in that regard.
When do you submit your new budget?
I pretty much have, after the board approved the request, I pretty much submitted that, I submitted that back in, oh my God, the end of May.
For 2024?
Correct. So that's already been, what we identified in terms of requests, that was already identified. So, pretty basic in terms of what's gonna be in terms of operating. Yeah, so it's maybe more to come, we hang steady, we'll keep track of where our numbers are, work with the adjustments and kind of go from there.
Thank you, Tim. Very good. Friends of the Library.
We have friends.
We have friends this time.
Hello, everybody. Michelle Anderson, president of the Friends of the Library. I'm here to do a report back on a couple things that I spoke about last time and have a request. So the read-in and information session that we talked about last time went very well. It was well attended, and giant hats off to Tim, who was the speaker. This might become an annual event that we do to show support for the library, the librarians. It was really positive. And thank you, Tim.
Well, thank you for the friends for putting that together. Thank you.
The weekend after that, we had our book sale, one of the best ones in recent history. And it's partly, we did a few little things with signage and email and things like that. But we think more it was the library foot traffic just being, keeps on being back up to more normal levels. And also tying into two events. There was a big children's event and there was a concert after that the library put together. And it just kind of kept the day humming. It was great. Both days, actually. We had a resignation of a board member who was very knowledgeable, respected, held many roles, served on the board multiple times, ran our bookstore, and she resigned due to health reasons, and she is very well loved. We will miss her. So I just wanted to let you know, Janet Murphy is her name. And the ask for this one, we are contemplating participating in Giving Hearts Day. It's something we've never done before. We're not really in a huge rush to do it this year. It could be this year, it could be next year. One of the entry things that might become a barrier to us if we can't figure it out is we need to have $3,000 in matching funds. So I guess my ask is, you all are probably in different circles than we all are in the Friends. So if you know of a business or a community member that might want to help us with something like that, please funnel that information back our way. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, friends.
Yeah.
Very good. Our next regular meeting will be July 18th. And with that, we are adjourned.